King Charles must ban the Chinese representative, Mr. Zheng Han, from his coronation. Why? Because Mr. Han presided over the killing of 15 Hong Kong demonstrators in 2019, the UK Daily Telegraph reported today. What? It gets worse. The paper says Mr. Han and his colleagues reneged on a promise to continue democratic freedom in British Hong Kong for 70 years. Democratic freedom? 70 years? What can I say? I mean, the British mainstream press has long been woefully inaccurate in their coverage of Hong Kong and mainland China. But this new piece by Robert Mendick and Dominic Penner, it plumbs new depths. The entire premise of the article is wrong, but let me just highlight a few specific bloopers. In the 2019 civil unrest, it says 15 demonstrators were killed and thousands injured in the clampdown. No. 2019 was the extraordinary period where there was violent civil unrest in half a dozen places around the world, and in all of them the army was called out and protesters died, sometimes in large numbers. Hong Kong was the exception. The army was never called out and the police killed no one. I wonder what would happen if I asked the Daily Telegraph writers to list the names of these 15 dead people then. The article says China overrode a treaty that was supposed to guarantee democratic freedom to Hong Kong for 70 years following the 1997 handover. You know, it's pretty impressive how they can get so many mistakes into a single sentence. There was no treaty guaranteeing continuation of democratic freedom because the British didn't run Hong Kong as a democracy. And what Deng Xiaoping said was that Hong Kong's present legal and economic systems, namely common law and free market capitalism, would continue for at least 50 years. And both are clearly, still in place, still in practice. Indeed, Hong Kong has moved up in global rankings of both law and of capitalism. More recently, the Chinese have made it clear that they will maintain this situation past the 50-year mark. The newspaper says that the clampdown led to the arrest and detention of more than 10,000 people. Really? Do you know what the typical jail term was for people arrested for violence during the civil unrest in Hong Kong 2019? I'll tell you. 0 weeks, 0 days and 0 hours. The majority of arrested people were not charged and never went to trial. They just went home. But the biggest mistake the newspaper makes is this. They think that this Chinese gentleman, Mr. Han Zheng, was in charge of Hong Kong's response to the violence. But that's not remotely true. Hong Kong told Beijing it would like to handle this by itself. And the authorities in mainland China agreed that that would be the best choice. And Hong Kong did. It did a good job. More than 100 demonstrations turned violent. But the police managed to keep the peace and kill not one person. But, talking of death, I would like to announce the sad demise of the reputation of the Daily Telegraph. It's been very ill for a long time. Now it's truly dead and buried.